for the Washington Mystics as we take a look at the starting lineup, beginning with the visiting Connecticut Sun. They have used this starting five every single game this season and every game in the playoffs as well. And the Washington Mystics, plenty of continuity in their starting five, with Ariel Atkins, the unlikely hero of Game 1, joining Elena delle. It'll be Sanders and Jonquel Jones to jump it up. And Game 2 of the 2019 WNBA Finals is underway as delle reaches over Thomas and then turns it over. Last hit delle. That's about as best as you could hope for if you're Connecticut, because you essentially get the tip, but you're still going to get it in the second and third quarter.
And I think it's important for Connecticut to have additional possessions. Washington shoots the ball at such a high percentage, you have to find another way to equal that. You can do that with more possessions.
An early touch inside for Jonquel Jones. She can't finish, and delle secures the rebound. Kurt Miller, Jones, and the Connecticut Sun teammates of Jonquel Jones all emphasizing they want to get Jonquel more touches inside and more shots in this game. Took just 8 shots in Game 1 as Atkins rattles in a jumper.
How about that? Ariel Atkins in Game 1 hit the first shot of the game. Huge three from the corner to get her going, and here showing that confidence is still with her.
Thomas just chucked it over the head of Jasmine Thomas out of bounds as Connecticut turns it over. Kurt Miller finally is coaching a player who's 30 years old. Jasmine Thomas turned 30 yesterday. The first player Miller has ever coached that's 30. Toliver with plenty of space. Can't hit on the three, and over the back went Sanders to knock it out of bounds.
Something a little different from the start of this game. In Game 1, shekinna stricklen was on Ariel Atkins, and Atkins was able to take advantage of that. This last time down the floor, you saw Stricklen on Cloud, interested to see if they're going to stick with that and how Washington handles that.
Jones, an open look from 3, off the mark, offensive rebound, Alyssa Thomas, who puts it in.
Connecticut is a terrific offensive rebounding team, and Washington did a very nice job in Game 1 of keeping them off the boards.
That time, Stricklen was late to meet Cloud, and it ends up in 2 free throws.
You know Connecticut's going to attack the glass. Alyssa Thomas strong, gets the position on Cloud and finishes inside. She loves contact.
Cloud to the line to shoot 2. Meanwhile, you talk about the offensive rebounding of Connecticut. They were first in the league in offensive rebounding percentage, first in the league in second chance points. It's something that we're unable to do in Game 1. Cloud, very effective in Game 1, 13.7 assists. Kurt Miller has said he really believes Cloud is a key for Washington, and Connecticut wants to try and quiet her. Williams, the quick cut, and can't get the roll from the free throw line. Delle with a lot of space, dips inside, short, and Jones claws the rebound. Good movement here. Jones, another look from 3, another miss. Thomas, another offensive rebound and put back.
She's an absolute beast. Alyssa Thomas is almost always the strongest player out on the floor, the one most willing and looking forward to contact on every play.
Anything with the matchup right now that's favoring her on the offensive glass?
Well, I think it's the long shots by Jonquel Jones extending the defense, and that gets her inside, especially if it's Cloud, the one who's boxing her out. She's giving up size.
Thomas is taking advantage. Toliver gets lost and buries the 3 as Stricklen couldn't get up to her. Kristi Toliver, the only player on the floor in these finals who has won a championship. She did so in LA in 2016. Stricklen, the jumper is good.
She got that jumper because of a mean screen set by the bruising Alyssa Thomas.
Jasmine Thomas trying to hang with Toliver. Toliver shakes her for a moment. Jones on Sanders. Stricklen remains on Cloud. Nice hands by Jasmine. Toliver kept it alive, and delle just blew the bunny. Atkins, the offensive rebound, and a chance for Washington to reset. Cloud trying to give it up, good hands, and the flip ahead. Jones trying to catch up with it. It looked like Atkins might have bumped her off the spot, but instead Connecticut turns it over.
I'm a bit surprised to see shekinna stricklen being the matchup against Natasha Cloud. And shekinna stricklen is a very, very good help side defender, a very smart help side defender. She was exposed a bit in game one when she was the on-ball defender against Ariel Atkins. So I'm interested to see what Mike Tebow's going to do and to see if he can take advantage of Stricklen with Cloud.
Atkins fading away, missed it badly, and Connecticut will live with that all day. And Elena delle is going back to the Washington Mystics locker room. Elena delle is out of this game and headed back to the Mystics locker room. We'll see if there's any update on why. You see the damage the Mystics did against Stricklen as a defender in game one. Connecticut could use that from her in game two.
And that's why she's on the floor, because she can hit threes. She has deep range on those threes.
Foul called away from the ball against Jonquel Jones. That'll be the second team foul against Connecticut, and the first on Jones. If you looked at the box score from game one, I mean, everything was just freakishly similar. Biggest difference was the amount of free throws made by Washington. Connecticut with the steal. Williams leaves for Thomas, who lays it in. And a nice start from Connecticut in game two.
Connecticut needs more possessions. They're getting them by turning Washington over and by getting to the offensive glass.
A 7-0 Connecticut run. Miesemann in for delle, who went back to the locker room. Good hands by Jones. Sanders couldn't finish. Looked like she got pushed. No call. Mike Tebow upset. Jasmine Thomas in and out on a three. And it was Jasmine who really struggled in game one, just 3 of 14 from the floor. Sanders gets it into Miesemann, trying to body into Alyssa Thomas. Miesemann can't finish. Rebound up in the air. Miesemann keeps it alive. Toliver, a good look. Off on a three, and the rebound lands in the lap of Stricklen. Much different start for Washington in game two. They're 2 of 10 from the floor. They shot at 63% in the first half of game one. Jones wanted a whistle, couldn't get it. Cloud breaking to the rim, flips it in.
One thing Cloud does so well is push pace, especially in transition. She is fast end to end.
Jasmine Thomas ducking inside.
Jasmine Thomas, Washington switched on her with Miesemann. That's where Thomas is at her best, when she's going downhill, turning the corner.
She felt like she didn't get a lot of those opportunities in game one, as Toliver splashes a jumper. A 13-11 Connecticut lead. Still no Elena delle on the bench of the Mystics. Here's Williams using a Thomas screen. 7 to shoot. Thomas bodying in, couldn't get it to go. It ends up back with Thomas. Stricklen looked like she got tripped, no call. Connecticut still has it though. 7 to shoot. Jasmine Thomas able to cash in on the fire drill.
Well, one thing we know, the officials are going to let him play here today.
Wow.
At least so far. There's a lot of contact on both ends.
Toliver's step back is off. Jones the rebound. Substitutions waiting. An extended run of action here in this first. Still no call. Jones will fire. You bet! The Connecticut Sun have come to play in game two.
This season, at times on the road, the Connecticut Sun's Achilles heel was coming out with not enough energy in the first quarter. Ryan, they have plenty of it here in this one.
Jasmine Thomas looking to rewrite the script in game two, finding her way to the rim multiple times in the first quarter.
Welcome back to Washington, D.C. Here with Natasha Cloud. And Natasha, Connecticut came out and kind of punched you guys in the mouth a little bit. How is your team going to respond right now?
What I said when we came in is calm down. They're going to make their run. We knew they were going to come out being more aggressive because of how we played them the other night. But we just got to stick within ourselves. They can't sustain the way we play for 40 minutes. So we just got to go with their punches and keep rolling with it.
All right, Elena Deladon's run back into the locker room. How can you absorb this time without her right now?
Our bench. Our bench has been the best bench in the WNBA all season long. Everyone's got to step up and step into the role.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, well, Holly Rose, a multitasker, not only interviewing Natasha Cloud, but getting an update on Elena Deladon.
That's right. Elena Deladon quickly moved back into the back hallway and went right into the to the Washington Mystics locker room. I am told that they are working on her right now. We don't know exactly what's wrong with her, but I will tell you that yesterday she did not practice much because of a back issue. She has had back issues in the past, and I believe that that's probably what they're working on right now. I'll get a further update as soon as we are certain, but that's what we believe to be the case right now.
All right, Holly, thank you very much. You hope, for the sake of Deladon and just how great she's been, that she's okay and able to come back. But she has been dealing with a little bit of a back issue, and so you wonder if something was triggered in those first few possessions.
The last two times down the floor out of the timeout, the Washington Mystics and Mike Tebow have gone into Emma Miesemann. They're trying to get a switch, which gets a smaller Connecticut player on her, then getting her into the post. Here, once again, Miesemann.
Hawkins, maybe too hard of a closeout from Jones, and it resulted in Miesemann open.
It's a nice luxury if Elena Deladon's going to go out to be able to bring Emma Miesemann in.
Miesemann was a monster in the semifinals as Williams buries another three, and that is an added element to her game.
And the last two times down for Connecticut, some elbow action that gets Courtney Williams touches.
And gets Don Williams dancing. Dad is always proud.
Twist that shit.
Miesemann's jumper is off. Rebound, Bria Holmes. Holmes nearly carried. He's a dangerous player in transition. Very athletic, trying to get to the rim here. Couldn't finish. There's an offensive rebound and a putback for Jonquel Jones, her first offensive rebound of the series.
Player who led the league in offensive rebounds this season was held without one in game one.
And now Hawkins steps out of bounds, and Washington has turned it over for a fifth time in this first quarter.
Washington averaged just slightly over 11 turnovers a game in the regular season, led the league in that stat. Connecticut's done a really good job so far in the finals, getting them to turn it over.
That'll be 4 in the first thus far for Washington. They turned it over 14 times in game one. 10-point Connecticut lead. Jones bodying in, couldn't bank it home. How about Jonquel Jones? Already 7 field goal attempts in the first quarter. She had 8 in all of game one.
You have to play through her, because even if the double comes, she'll make the right decision.
A rare miss on an open look from Miesemann. Connecticut has outscored Washington 19-8 since Deladon went out, as Williams is feeling it.
That girl can't fuck hard me.
And so is Papa. Powers storms in for 2. And with Deladon out, you get a feeling Washington may need a little more scoring pop off the bench. Jones, difficult look, and she got fouled.
We've talked about Courtney Williams throughout the course of the playoffs. She's feeling it. And when she gets a bigger player on her, she's one of the best on her. Elevate, score, look at daddy, celebrate. What are we going to say, Ryan?
Ooh, she feeling it. Ooh. In case you missed Don Williams' viral video, I would like to think that his cadence was very similar to that.
Yes.
How about the insistence from Connecticut to get Jonquel Jones looks in this first quarter?
That's what they need to do. She is so good at passing when the double team comes and recognizing her ability to score when it's one-on-one. She's been very good with her decision-making so far in this game.
Jones now with 7 points, 4 rebounds in the first quarter. Just a tiny differential between the game and shot clock, so Washington can essentially hold for one. Connecticut does have a foul to give. Cloud trying to turn the corner. Hawkins a good look from three. Too strong. Miesemann trying to keep it alive. Shot is off in time, but not in. And that'll do it for the first quarter. Connecticut down 1-0 in the series, trying to even things up tonight.
Connecticut has come out firing. It started with the physical play of Alyssa Thomas. She sets the tone for them. And then Courtney Williams, star, continues to shine here in Game 2.
The WNBA Finals 2019 is presented by YouTube TV and AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. And the new toasted cheddar chalupa at Taco Bell.
Welcome back to Washington, here with Connecticut Sun coach Kurt Miller. And coach, I think your team got the memo that you wanted more touches for Jonquel Jones. What changes for your team when you do play through her?
Well, it wasn't perfect, but everything changes when you get her touches outside, inside, and we just didn't watch her play. We kept moving, we kept in actions. At the same time, you still got to put Courtney Williams and AT in actions together. Really, we didn't make every shot, but that was an efficient offensive half and quarter and what we want to do.
Elena is out for Washington right now. What can you do with her absence?
Well, Miesemann's just as dangerous, so, we've got to get her contained. Again, it's the penetration. They got a kick to her, a dump to her, off of penetration. It's just not her one-on-one ability where they're back to the basket. We've got to keep other players in front of us so we're not in rotation.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You see Tiana Hawkins hit the shot there. Hawkins has been terrific for Washington all season long, and I was talking to her earlier today, and she said, I got to maximize my opportunities. I know my window's not that big, but she's made the most of it here early.
Rhea Holmes got bumped, can't finish. Rebound flag down by Alyssa Thomas. This lineup for Connecticut having a little trouble finding space. Williams trapped, Thomas trying to spin out of it, shot clock fading, Jones. That's going to be an offensive foul. Let's take a look at what happened with Elena Delle, still not back on the bench. In the first quarter, we believe this is where she may have tweaked the back. It was right after this that she came out of the game. Obviously, there's not anything obvious in the movement, but you see her waving to the bench after that to try and get their attention. And she has not returned since. Back in the trainer's room. The Mystics were a +13 with Elena off the court in 25 postseason minutes before this game. But in the first quarter, they were outscored by 13 once she went to the locker room. As Thomas draws a foul and will shoot two.
End-to-end is when Connecticut is so good. A block shot one way, pushing the pace, especially when the ball gets in Alyssa Thomas's hands going the other way.
This is the YouTube TV Try It free throw. Watch WNBA games and 70+ live channels when you try YouTube TV for free at tvyoutube.com. Now, one thing to point out, and we'll see whether or not Delle can come back in this game, but there is a huge gap between games 2 and 3. Game 3 is not until Sunday. So in a worst-case scenario for Washington, at least their star would have some time. As Toliver hits a jumper, and Washington's going to need her.
A huge gap and relatively easy travel between Washington and Connecticut.
We'll show you that schedule. Game 3 at 3:30 p.m. on ABC on Sunday. Then Game 4, if necessary, would be Tuesday on ESPN2, and Game 5, Thursday, October 10th, back here in Washington. Williams' jumper is short, and Miesemann in the rebound. Hawkins running the floor, and Washington has some juice in the second. A 9-2 Washington run. Thomas finds some space, flipped it up too strong, but Jones there for the follow.
Wow, what a presence Jonquel Jones has been so far in this game. Hitting threes, getting on the offensive glass.
9 points, 6 rebounds for Jones. Beats him in. One-on-one with Thomas. Finds a wide open Walker Kimbrough as Williams just got burned. Let's check in with Holly for more on Elena Delle.
We have gotten a confirmation from the Washington Mystics that Elena Delle is suffering from back spasms and is questionable to return to this game. I saw people come out of the stands, their team doctor, there's a staff of medical professionals back there helping Elena right now, but she is questionable to return.
All right, Holly, thank you for the update. We'll obviously update her status further whenever there's any more information, but
It's right
questionable to return.
And you know, what was Elena telling us earlier in this series? She said, my presence on the floor, something she learned from Sue Bird, just being out there makes your team feel more confident. And Washington has responded pretty nicely without her on the floor. This is a team with the experience of being in the finals a year ago, and a team that had a hard-fought semifinal series against Vegas.
And remember last year in the finals, they had an Elena Delle who was around 70% because of a bone bruise in her knee. Hawkins, another look from 3, and another make! Tiana Hawkins shot it at 36% from 3 this season. She's reining them in the second quarter of game 2. Jones spins inside, another bucket for Jonquel Jones.
Because Washington switches all screens, and sometimes it's a 3-player switch. Jonquel Jones gets a favorable matchup and finishes.
Toliver is off. Jones the rebound, 12 points, 8 rebounds for Jonquel Jones. Jones steps into a 3. No. Powers picking up the pace. And a foul is called on Jones, and that is her second.
Tiana Hawkins with a little rub screen. She's left open. You can't do that. Tremendous confidence from the post from outside. And then Jonquel, as Mason switches in on her, finishing at the rim.
2 fouls now on Jonquel Jones. She is the only player with 2 as Ariel Powers hits the first free throw. What changes for Connecticut without Delle on the floor, Rebecca?
I think the biggest thing is now Alyssa Thomas, who is your best defender and who has been going against Elena Delle the whole series. Kurt Miller can figure out, all right, who else do I need to put her on? You know, and it had been Emma Miesemann. And, you know, it changes things a little bit. And now Mike Tebow won't go with the big lineup because she's part of that big lineup.
Thomas, little push shot. Oh, that was a forced look. And Washington has cut a 12-point deficit down to 3, maybe none. That one misfires. Alyssa Thomas looking to push. This is where she's most dangerous, and that's why.
She's so good. Getting it into the middle of the floor, can facilitate, can finish herself. Such a powerful player to be rumbling down the floor in transition.
Meanwhile, Washington's bench an 18-0 advantage over Connecticut right now. Miesemann, oh, the footwork. Connecticut has looked a bit frazzled in this second quarter. Rachel Banham in for Connecticut. And to shoot. Holmes gives it up. Thomas scrapes it up and somehow able to finish on what looked like it could be a lost possession. Ten points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists for Thomas as Powers misfires. Another rebound for Alyssa Thomas, who still has not sat in this series. Holmes, nice decision and an easy lay for Jonquel Jones.
You're also missing the 6'5" shot blocking presence of Elena Delle.
Jones with 14 points, 8 rebounds. Niesemann's jumper. I'm seeing some tired bodies right now, too. Alyssa Thomas trying to take advantage. That's going to be a blocking foul on Hawkins, and finally we will have a stoppage.
The best facilitating forward in the WNBA is Alyssa Thomas. Comes down, can deliver by scoring or assisting, leading the charge here for the Connecticut Sun.
My bad, y'all. I'm better, I'm be better, I'm be better, I'm be better, I'm be better. That's it! That's all they get! Fuck them. Ain't no way. They better switch that. That girl can't guard me. That girl can't guard me.
Courtney Williams continuing to star on the mic as Holmes flips it in. And a nice response from Connecticut after Washington had cut the deficit to 3.
And they talked after game 1 that they did too much side to side, east west, and that they had to attack, go downhill to the paint, and they've done that.
Toliver misses an open 3. Washington just 3 of 11 from deep as Bria Holmes bodies in and finishes.
And that's what she brings when she comes in for shekinna Stricklen. Stricklen more the three-point shooter, Holmes is the driver.
An 8-0 Connecticut run. Cloud to the reverse, no chance. Jones the rebound. Thomas pushing. Doesn't have the numbers, does have Heidemann, who's fouled. And that'll be the 14th foul against Washington in this second quarter. And the 3rd on Tiana Hawkins.
And that's big, because Hawkins has played really well in her minutes out here with her ability to stretch the defense and hit shots from the perimeter.
Elena delle still out of this game, as Holly Rowe told us moments ago, dealing with back spasms, questionable to return. The 2-time MVP. This year's first ever 50-40-90 player. Holmes has it all going down. Bria Holmes with 9 points in 10 minutes off the bench for Connecticut. And the lead is 14, the largest of the game for the Sun.
You know, in the first quarter when Holly Rowe interviewed Natasha Cloud, Natasha said, I don't think, Connecticut can really keep up with us in this pace. Connecticut's really comfortable in this pace, and their starters have played heavy minutes, but when your starters play heavy minutes, sometimes their wind is even better than when they get a lot of subs from the bench. They're conditioned for this.
Toliver, difficult shot, misfired. How about the effort from Niesemann? Cloud was ducking in. Atkins will fire, and it's in.
That was good defense by Bria Holmes. Wow, Ariel Atkins draining it anyway.
Atkins averaged just 4.5 points in the semifinals, scored 21 in game 1, 5 so far tonight. Alyssa Thomas gets the angle, and Jones drops it out of bounds. 5th turnover for Connecticut. Timeout on the floor. Connecticut an 11-point lead, but with no Elena delle. Washington's going to need more of this from Ariel Atkins if they're going to storm back into this game. President Lincoln is always watching, so he will stay tuned to the WNBA Halftime Report presented by State Farm. Holly Rowe sits down with Natasha Cloud and Bradley Beal. Really interesting interview you're going to want to see. That's why Abe's not going anywhere. That plus highlights of the first half. We were visiting Abe, the 3 of us, the other night at 1 in the morning.
We were.
As Toliver lays it in. Poor Holly Rowe. Me and you just forcing her to walk all over Washington in the middle of the night.
That's right.
Thomas barrels in and got stood up by Sanders. It'll be a jump ball, nice defensive stand by Latoya Sanders.
Really good defense by Sanders. And that elbow action between Courtney Williams and Alyssa Thomas has been very good to Connecticut. It was good to them in game 1 and here again in game 2, but stellar defense by Sanders.
Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, during that last timeout, you can see the collective kind of deep breath. Washington is trying to regroup after the loss of Elena delle. I could see Natasha Cloud try to have some fun, kind of punch Kristi Toliver in her tummy, like have some fun, like let's fight back. And Kristi was like, hey, let's focus right now, deep breath. They're all trying to find what's going to be effective now playing without their MVP.
Delle out, questionable to return with back spasms. Mystics with 6 to shoot, fading away, connects.
How good has Emma Mystics been? I mean, when Connecticut doesn't send a double team, she's been able to score. It doesn't matter who's been defending her.
And a 7-0 run from Washington. Heidemann trying to turn the corner, slipped. And another jump ball, no. A timeout is taken by Connecticut. Timeout given to Connecticut. We'll step aside, 1:17 to go in the second quarter of game 2. Sun lead by 7. Celebs in the building, including Don Williams, who's become one these playoffs, the father of Courtney. How about the support that the Wizards have shown the Mystics? Bradley Beal, John Wall, Scott Brooks, all in the building showing their support for their neighbor here in Washington. And we'll hear from Bradley with Natasha Cloud and Holly Rowe at halftime. Natasha Heidemann out. Jasmine Thomas back in for Connecticut as Jones muscles it in. She has been insistent in this first half.
Just terrific. Connecticut has made it a priority to play through her and play through her on the block, and she has come through.
16 points for Jones. Mystics in, the runner. How about the feathery touch?
She was one of the biggest reasons Washington won the series against Las Vegas, in particular game 4, and she's really come to play here again.
10 points on 5 of 9 shooting, and a defensive 3 seconds called against Washington.
How can you see that?
Mike Tebow has vision questions. Williams hits the free throw. 8 points for Courtney Williams. Jonquel Jones, 6 of 12 from the floor in this first half. She took 8 total shots in game 1. 2-for-1 opportunity for Connecticut. Thomas gets the lane and blew the bunny. Jones on the follow. 18 points, 10 rebounds for Jonquel Jones. Toliver gives it up. Sanders puts it in. And Connecticut can hold for 1. Jonquel Jones, meanwhile, has tied a finals record for most rebounds in a half with her 10. Flip inside to Alyssa Thomas. Her floater is good. Connecticut went a little early, though. Cloud trying to take advantage. She can't. And that'll do it for the first half. The Connecticut Sun take advantage of Elena Delle injury. They outscore Washington 56-46. As we send things over to Holly Rowe.
Well, Jonquel Jones, you had 8 shots all of game 1. You have gone off here in the first half. What was different about your mindset tonight?
You know, the team just made an emphasis on getting me the ball. I felt like I did a lot of great things when I did get the ball in the first game, but just more touches this time.
Not only that, though, you have set a finals record for rebounds in the first half. How are you trying to assert your will?
I was disappointed in game 1. I was disappointed with my lack of getting to the offensive rebounds and offensive boards, so I have to make a change.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
18 points, 10 rebounds for Jonquel Jones. Her score at the half, Connecticut 56, Washington 46. Stay tuned for the WNBA Halftime Report presented by State Farm. It's coming up after these messages. Inside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. In that first half, what production from Jonquel Jones?
Well, Connecticut came into game 2 saying we are going to establish Jonquel Jones in the post. They ran their offense through her, and she was able to score. Terrific job on the offensive glass. Now for Washington, they lose Elena delle early because of back spasms. Emma Miesemann came in their game and really provided them a nice scoring punch.
And no Elena delle on the floor to begin the third quarter. Holly Rose reported she is questionable to return with those back spasms. Connecticut trying to even up these best-of-5 finals. Williams has the switch on Sanders, liked it, couldn't hit it. Miesemann the rebound. Washington twice in the regular season played against Connecticut without Elena delle. Connecticut won both of those games. In the corner, it's Atkins. Way off on a 3, and Jasmine Thomas catches the air ball. The 23 field goals in the first half from Connecticut, a finals record for any half, as Connecticut turns it over.
You know, one thing to note, you know, of course, Washington's going to miss Elena delle on the offensive end of the floor, but she has done, throughout the course of the matchup, regular season and playoffs, an extraordinary job blocking out Jonquel Jones. And that's one of the reasons I think Jonquel Jones was so effective getting to the offensive glass in the first half, is because she did not have delle as the one boxing her out.
She had 4 offensive rebounds in the first half after she had none in game 1. Outstanding pass from Toliver, and Jones is called for a 3rd foul. You see the numbers for Jonquel Jones. First time this season she had a double-double in the first half. For the latest on all things WNBA Finals, including scores, news, and highlights, get the WNBA app. Download for free today from the App Store. So the 5 for Washington: Sanders, Miesemann, Atkins, Toliver, and Cloud. For Connecticut, it's Alyssa Thomas, Jasmine Thomas, Courtney Williams, Stricklen, and Jonquel Jones, as Stricklen gets free for 2.
Great back screen by Jonquel Jones to free up Shekinna Stricklen and put a body on Kristi Toliver.
Let's find out a little more on Elena delle from Holly Rowe.
And just in case people are just joining us, Elena delle went to the locker room with back spasms in that first half. She is currently back in the Mystics locker room being worked on by what I'm told is a team of people, between 6 and 8 people back in the locker room right now, working on Elena delle, trying to get her back out here. As of right now, she is still questionable to return, but if that changes, I will let you know.
All right, Holly, thank you very much. Williams, the breakdown, and the finish. Pretty dexterity from Courtney Williams. Miesemann, the pirouette, and the touch.
In the first half, Shekinna Stricklen was good on the offensive end, but Rhea Holmes came in and really helped them on the defensive end. Great take by Courtney Williams. The last time down the floor, Emma Miesemann saw the one-on-one matchup with Stricklen and took it right at her.
Atkins trying to body into Courtney Williams and just maybe a little over-ambitious there. Alyssa Thomas. Jasmine spins and just a poor pass. There have been times in these first 2 games Jasmine Thomas has just looked a little sped up. That was a phrase her head coach used as well, as that's over and back, and late call, but an accurate one from Mai Forsberg.
Courtney Williams bobbing and weaving behind the screens, and as soon as she sees Emma Miesemann on her, takes it inside. We heard her on the audio say, you know, nobody can guard me. Washington's having a really tough time doing it.
Williams was one of 3 players in the league this season to average 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. She's up that big time in the playoffs. Williams, great first step. Couldn't get it to go. Jones, another offensive rebound. Denied at the apex. Another try, and that one drops. Timeout, Washington.
Ryan, if at first you don't succeed, what do?
Try again.
And that's what Jonquel Jones does here. Sanders with a nice block, gets it back, continues to be relentless on the boards. And if you don't speak Folkston, Georgia, she was saying every board is yours. And that's been true for Jonquel Jones on the offensive end of the floor, cleaning things up just before that timeout.
And Mystics comes out of the timeout with a bucket. Mystics has been the best offensive answer for Washington as Thomas misfires. Another offensive rebound for Jonquel Jones. Just a monster inside tonight. 7 offensive rebounds for Jones, who had a goose egg in game 1 in that department. Cloud, step back 3 is off. Rebound lands in the lap of Atkins. Good decision.
Good decision and smart defense by Jonquel Jones with the 3 fouls. She didn't leave her feet to contest.
Here's Stricklen. Looking for help, finds it in Jasmine Thomas. Alyssa finds the open player. It's Williams, short on a 3. She is so good at following her own shot. And underneath, Jones was fouled on the rebound by Sanders.
Before game 1, Mike Tebow was talking about Natasha Cloud defensively, how good she is. And he said, we put her on the other team's player who gives them confidence. In game 1, he put her on Jasmine Thomas. Here you see her on Courtney Williams, because if any player is giving Connecticut their confidence and their swagger, it's right there, Courtney Williams.
Williams, good look. Thomas, the hop, and the finish plus the foul. A chance for 3 for AT.
This is an unselfish Connecticut basketball team. And the double came. Courtney Williams recognized that she's continued to be excellent in the postseason at finding open teammates.
And Alyssa Thomas is 3 of 3 from the line despite her limitations there, partially due to her torn labrums in each shoulder. Mystics, the quick spin, got fouled by Alyssa Thomas, and Emma Mystics will shoot a pair.
Washington continuing to play through Emma Mystics.
Second foul on Alyssa Thomas. The only players with 3, Jonquel Jones for Connecticut, and Tiana Hawkins for Washington. We'll have game 3 of the best of 5 all East Coast WNBA Finals Sunday at 3:30 Eastern on ABC. And the ESPN app, Elena, Delle, and the Mystics take on the Sun with Washington and Connecticut locking up. It's the Sun and the Mystics Sunday on ABC. Sanders comes up with a steal. Cloud picked up her dribble.
What defense. What
Toliver finally got free. Mystics in the corner. She's automatic.
And if you're the Connecticut Sun, that's got to hurt your heart a little bit. They play great defense, and Emma Mystics able to hit.
19 for Mystics on 8 of 12 shooting. If Washington has a shot in this game, it's going to be on the back of Mystics. Williams harassed, nearly threw it away, looking for help. Jasmine Thomas, the jitter, the drive, and the finish. Third field goal for Jasmine Thomas, a big one there for Connecticut. Toliver off one leg. Jones thought about it. Will take. No. Probably not the best decision with a hand in her face.
She hasn't gotten a lot of touches here in the third quarter, and their half-court set. And sometimes when that happens, when you get your hands on the basketball, you want to get that feel.
22 points, 13 rebounds for Jones. Mystics gives it up. Nice pass. Toliver to Cloud, who missed it badly, and now Thomas is bumped in transition.
You could see that Cloud didn't catch that cleanly.
Here comes Bria Holmes in for Courtney Williams, so a bigger lineup for Connecticut as Morgan Tuck will grab Shekinna Stricklen. What do you think of this lineup right now, Rebecca, for Connecticut?
Well, this lineup had some success. At least Morgan Tuck had some nice success in game one. It's a lineup that can spread the floor. They can all shoot from the perimeter, and they can all defend.
It's a big lineup. Tuck trying to use her body against Toliver, and defensive 3 seconds is called against Washington.
You guys got to pay attention when they sub.
Well, there's at least one possession where that big lineup.
We're in a big lineup. We're trying to get you in different matchups. You guys hung Kristi out to dry.
But Jasmine Thomas unable to cash in.
And that's communication. Defensively, that's just talking through things, making sure everyone knows who they have. Coach Thibault understandably frustrated about that.
9-point Connecticut lead, trying to even up these best-of-5 finals. Morgan Tuck with the left hand. Tiana Hawkins back in for Washington. She played quality minutes in the first half, just picked up fouls.
Wow.
Toliver might have gotten away with a little shimmy.
A really physical game.
Cross court. Powers on the drive, got whacked.
Ooh.
And free throws coming for Ariel Powers as we check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, one of the things we just heard Mike Thibault saying was they have got to communicate better for Washington. And the last couple of timeouts, I've gone in and listened into their huddles, and it has been so unusual. This is a team with tons of team chemistry. They have lots of energy and excitement. They're always talking back and forth. A lot of voices in the huddle. Dead silent. The players aren't talking. Natasha Cloud, who is usually very loud, not talking. This Elena delle injury has just gut punched them right now, and they have got to find the juice with who is out here right now and communicate, because they are very against who they normally are right this minute.
It's a good point too, Ollie, because before the series started, Mike Thibault is the winningest coach in this league's history, told us this is the best chemistry he has ever had.
And, you know, when we talked to the Washington Mystics before game one, and the pervasive feeling of what they had coming into this series was calm. If you told them you weren't going to have Elena delle for game two, that might not have been what they told us they were feeling. Yeah, a little less calm.
When Maverick's not in the pilot seat anymore. A triple team comes, and it's out of bounds off of Washington. 10 to shoot for Connecticut. And Washington is hanging around here, down just 7, despite not having Elena delle since the middle of the first quarter due to back spasms.
Atlanta! Atlanta! Atlanta!
Thomas has to get it in. Forced to wedge it on the sideline. Reversal to home, short on a 3. Rebound scraped out of bounds. It'll stay again with Connecticut. Now, the shot clock did not reset when it hit the rim there. And that's what Kurt Miller's trying to say. Shot clock right now is at 4, but it should have reset on the miss from Holmes. Rebecca, what do you think of the results so far with this big lineup from Connecticut?
I think they held their own, you know, and I think the most important part of it is you're getting Courtney Williams a blow, because it's going to be important for her to be able to really go in the fourth quarter.
Jones passes out of the double. Holmes, the straight drive. Blew the bunny. Thomas tried to bat it alive. It's Washington who controls. A chance here for the Mystics. Powers, the cradle, and the finish, plus the foul.
Ariel Powers with a head full of steam, taking it inside. Is that foul called on Jonquel Jones?
If it was, it's her 4th. It was, it's her 4th.
If you call a foul there, it's got to be on Morgan Tuck, because Jonquel Jones did not come close to
that is huge. You're right, Rebecca. I don't think she made any contact.
Especially with how physical this game is being played.
That is a huge call as Powers completes the three-point play. A 10-2 Washington run. It's a 4-point game. And Jones on the bench now for Connecticut. Williams back in. Her jumper, too strong. Alyssa Thomas, what an offensive rebound. And then a jump ball. And a quick one.
Feelings heightened here, Ryan. I mean, these teams going after it. And
I mean, it looked like Hawkins had it.
yes, it did.
Thomas and Hawkins will jump. And Jasmine Thomas flags it down. Tuck flashes, drives, couldn't get it to go. Rebound, grabbed by Williams in the corner. Another chance for Connecticut. Plenty of offensive rebounds in this game for the Sun. 7 to shoot. Tuck, a good look from 3 is off. And the rebound controlled by Powers. Washington can cut a little closer here. Nieseman wants it. Spins. Good movement. Toliver. Finds Powers for 2. Timeout, Connecticut. Ariel Powers is given a jolt off the bench for Washington.
She has been absolutely terrific, showing a lot of toughness. She's been attacking the paint. 3 for 4 for 11 points.
And Powers has helped lead a Washington bench that has outscored Connecticut's bench 40-9. And Washington, who's been without Elena since midway through the first quarter, has shaved a 14-point deficit down to 2. Thomas's floater rims out. Rebound loose. Grabbed by Washington. Jonquel Jones still on the bench for Connecticut after picking up her 4th foul. Final minute of the 3rd quarter. Toliver using the Nieseman screen. Her leaner is way off. Here comes Thomas, a chance maybe in transition. Thomas kicks out, finds Jasmine. Off on a 3 as the cold shooting continues for Jasmine Thomas. She's 3 of 9. And Connecticut has missed its last 9 shots. Powers to tie. No.
This is the last few possessions, a time where Connecticut would normally be running through the offense through Jonquel Jones, but can't because she's on the bench with 4.
And a very questionable 4th foul call. Williams pull-up is good, and a much-needed bucket for Connecticut. Toliver gliding into the possession. 3 seconds left in the quarter. Toliver gets inside, but no roll. And that'll do it for the 3rd. Connecticut a 4-point lead, trying to even up this series.
The Connecticut Sun have been led in this game by Jonquel Jones, getting it done on the offensive glass, getting her team second looks, and then off the bench. The punch for the Washington Mystics has come from this young woman, Ariel Powers.
Welcome back to Washington, here with Washington Mystics coach Mike Thibault. And coach, how do you think your team absorbed the loss of Elena Delle and kind of that gut punch to lose her at that moment?
Well, we didn't absorb it very well in the first half. We've come back with a little more fire in the 3rd quarter. You know, we lose a lot of both ends with her. She's been a good matchup on Jonquel Jones. We're having to fight that a little bit. But you see we have big hearts, so we're going to stay in the game and see if we can figure out a way to pull this out.
I see you just having a conversation with Kristi Toliver. What were you asking her? What are you concerned about right now?
I'm just trying to, see when I can get them a break for a minute or 2 to get their rest. But they don't want to come out either. They want to figure out a way to keep the momentum going too.
Thank you, coach.
That's a way to keep momentum going. Tiana Hawkins continuing to play great minutes off the bench.
Williams connects on a 3. Courtney Williams, 17 points. Hawkins is 3 for 4 from deep off the bench. We just get word from Holly Rowe. Elena Delle has been ruled out for the remainder of this game. Holmes takes the telegraph pass and gobbles it up, but throws the bunny. Nobody there, and she blew the layup. Hawkins separates and 4 fouls. What a swing there after Holmes missed a wide open layup. Williams likes the matchup on Misame. Misfires though, Toliver the rebound.
Great box out by Kristi Toliver on Morgan Tuck. There you go, Jonquel Jones coming to the bench to check in.
Toliver spinning, working Jasmine Thomas. Toliver puts it in! This game is tied! The last time was when this was a 4-4 game. Washington has clawed back without the MVP. And a jump ball here.
Kristi Toliver is the one player in these finals who has won a WNBA championship. When she was with the LA Sparks, throughout the course of her career, she's known for big shots, and she just works it there, then gives the side eye after it goes in.
Jasmine Thomas has done a nice job on her tonight. Toliver just 6 of 16 from the floor, 1 of 5 from 3, but a big one there. As Toliver got in there, so did Williams, and it's Connecticut who controls. Stricklen, an open look from 3, no. Jones back in on the offensive glass, continuing to beast.
When she was off the floor, Washington was gobbling up all of those defensive boards. Now that she's back in, it becomes much more difficult.
24 points, 14 rebounds for Jones. Toliver, off of her, no, off of Connecticut. It'll stay with Washington. Kurt Miller really thought that lasted Washington. Atkins gets back to it. 5 to shoot. Toliver, the separation. Jones, another rebound. Her 15th of the game. Williams. Thomas, the deep catch, nuzzles in and finishes.
Connecticut's been able to take advantage of that matchup when Cloud has either been on Thomas or switched on to her, getting Thomas the ball on the block.
Toliver fends off, can't finish. Numbers for Connecticut. Williams with Stricklen to her right. Williams will take. No. Jones, another offensive rebound. Trying to get the angle. Can't pop it in. It ends up with Williams. She does finish. A 6-0 response from Connecticut.
Jonquel Jones has been the difference for Connecticut in this game. Whenever she's been on the floor, she has been the most relentless attacker of the offensive boards. 9 offensive rebounds. Right now, a finals record.
Did Jonquel Jones get away with a travel after this last rebound?
No. You think she did?
I think you're right. I think it was clean.
I mean, the effort that that woman is exerting. She's got a lot of bodies around her. She's got a slight frame, continues to attack and attack.
24 points, 17 rebounds, 10 of them offensive, a WNBA Finals record for the Bahamas star.
I actually talked to Jonquel today at practice. I said, you know, sometimes watching you play, I keep thinking, why doesn't she just take over? She's unstoppable in the paint. I said, do you have the beast within? And she said, I believe that I do. And I said, when will we see that? She said, you'll see it tonight. She promised that she would ball out tonight. She would show the beast within, and she has lived up to that promise today at shoot-around.
The Bahamian Beast? Is that what you're telling us?
Oh, I like that nickname.
She likes that.
Yeah.
She starred at nearby GW in college. Shot clock down to Cloud dishes. Toliver, a good look. No. Hawkins, the offensive rebound, and Jones had to be careful. Hawkins takes advantage.
So impressed by Tiana Hawkins and her effort here, playing more minutes than even I'm sure she expected because of the injury to Elena Delle.
She is 15 and 6 off the bench. Jones, here comes the double. Looking for help. No look to the corner. Knew Thomas was there. 3 to shoot. Jasmine has to pop and hits.
Big shot for a player who's been struggling a bit with her offense, and Jasmine Thomas.
Misamin, it is so feathery. She tickles the air with that jumper.
I love WNBA basketball.
A beautiful brand on display in D.C. Lazy pass and a steal. Hawkins to the rim, and that's foul number 5 on Jonquel Jones. Timeout on the floor. 5:07 to go in the 4th quarter of Game 2.
The WNBA Finals 2019 is presented by YouTube TV and AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing.
Transmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise used in any form without the express written consent of WNBA Enterprises.
Welcome back to the WNBA Finals 2019, presented by YouTube TV. Connecticut and the District of Columbia represented as the beautiful World War II Memorial, and facing each other here in the WNBA Finals. Hey, now's the time to get your WNBA team and league gear. Go to WNBAstore.com for jerseys, t-shirts, orange hoodies, and more. Rebecca Lobo's favorite promo is back.
We finally got a WNBA store promo, Ryan. I couldn't be happier.
As an avid shopper, I know you're excited.
Last week, I bought 4 of the orange WNBA hoodies at WNBAstore.com.
Hawkins goes 1 for 2 from the line. 3-point Connecticut lead, looking to even up this 5-game series at a game apiece. Elena Delle out since the middle of the 1st quarter with back spasms. She will not return. Washington dug out of a 14-point hole to tie it. Could not get the lead as Jones forced it. Thomas somehow collects it and finishes it.
Thomas and Jonquel Jones' work on the offensive glass tonight has made all the difference for the Connecticut Sun.
19 points, 12 rebounds for Alyssa Thomas. 24 points, 17 boards for Jones. Toliver, just 1 of 6 from 3. Here's Sanders. Jones has 5 fouls, has to be careful here. Sanders finishes as Jones had to let her go.
Great patience by Sanders to work the up and under, go against the player who she knew couldn't foul.
Williams with 19 points. Elevates, had it partially blocked. 9 to shoot for Connecticut.
We've been watching Jonquel Jones all game on the offensive glass. This time she takes the shot. As soon as she does, Alyssa Thomas getting in on the weak side and finishing.
And Alyssa Thomas still has not sat in this series. Williams flashes open, takes, short, and a chance for Washington. Toliver finds Misamin to tie. No. And Jones the rebound. Thomas barrels in and softly lays it home.
As soon as Thomas got the ball in her hands in the backcourt, she was calling that for herself.
Cloud gets loose for an easy deuce.
Wow, the toughness that Washington continues to show throughout this game without their leader. Elena Delle back in the locker room.
Alyssa Thomas into the lane, finds Williams. On a 3! The added element of Courtney Williams flashing brightly in these finals. 22 for Williams, 24 for Jones, 21 for Alyssa Thomas. Toliver, no. Rebound over the back called against Sanders, and it's the first team foul against Washington in the 4th.
Alyssa Thomas has been the team Connecticut Sun's toughness all season long. We've seen her score, now she assists.
After our game, keep it right here for SportsCenter with Kenny Mayne and John Anderson. We'll help them put a bow on this one. Plus, after one crazy NBA offseason, Scoop Jackson previews the much-anticipated regular season, and we're live in D.C. to break down Brewers Nationals with reactions as well as a look at the NLDS. SportsCenter next right here on ESPN and the ESPN app. How about the difference on the offensive glass tonight for Connecticut?
And again, you have to point to Elena delle not being on the floor. In game one, she was the only player with double-digit rebounds. She had 10, 9 of them on the defensive end. Washington misses her.
Thomas trying to get back to it. She can go in the backcourt on that. 7 to shoot. Thomas floater off. Rebound, Jones, and it's out of bounds off of Washington. 2:20 to go, so they cannot review this. Has to be inside the final 2 minutes. It'll be Connecticut ball with 14 to shoot.
And again, the activity on the offensive glass, that time by Jonquel Jones.
Jones has already set a finals record for most offensive rebounds in a game. You bet! On a 3, Jonquel Jones doing it all. 27 points, 18 rebounds. And a whistle against Washington.
Jonquel Jones, an absolute monster today. The Bahamian beast. Inside, then outside. It's become a Bahamian rhapsody.
So proud of you right now. Williams off, follows it up and nearly clawed it. Does Washington have a run left in them? They showed incredible resilience in this game. Misamin steps back, short. Rebound, Williams. Rebecca Lobo likes to call it the best rebounding guard in the WNBA.
Best rebounding small guard, absolutely.
Connecticut is a plus 15 on the glass. Jones trying to put this one away. Jones going to work. Could not finish. Perhaps some contact, no call. Toliver has been hawked by Jasmine Thomas all game. And that is going to be a foul against who? Will be on Alyssa?
Yeah,
it will.
She reached in. That's a good call.
Third foul on Alyssa Thomas. Timeout taken. 94-85. Connecticut in front of Washington, looking to even up this best-of-5 finals. Connecticut had a foul to give there. As we take a look at the series schedule, Game 3 at 3:30 Eastern on ABC on Sunday. Game 4 would be Tuesday in Connecticut, and then a Game 5 would be Thursday, October 10th, back here in D.C. Ryan Rucco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. Holly Rowe with us as well. Rebecca, what has been the difference here in this stretch of the fourth quarter after Washington had closed this game and actually tied it?
Jonquel Jones. She's been the difference. You know, when Washington made their run, she was on the bench with her foul trouble. She came in, has gotten them second opportunities. She's gotten to the offensive glass, and she's given a player for them to play through. And then Alyssa Thomas, their leader, has also raised her level of intensity a notch.
Don Williams and the fans of the Sun have had a lot to dance for. Toliver doesn't have an angle. Hawkins trying to find one. Stops on a dime, left it short, rebound out of bounds. And they're going to say Mystics ball, but they're going to review it.
Really good defensive possession by Connecticut, switching everything on the perimeter so as not to give up. 3. Who's that off on, Ryan?
It looked on that angle like Alyssa Thomas, but we'll see another one here. Or might have been Courtney Williams.
Yeah, either way, it's off of Connecticut.
Yeah. And so it'll be Washington ball with 4 to shoot. 55.6 seconds remaining. The officials taking a look at this, but look pretty definitive that it is off of Connecticut.
And without touching the rim, the shot clock doesn't reset, so a Washington ball, they get 4 seconds.
Now, still a little meat on the bone here in this game, but one thing to keep in mind, which we discussed earlier, there is a 4-day gap between games 2 and 3. Game 3 is not until Sunday. So Elena Delle, who has been out with back spasms since the middle of the first quarter, will have a significant amount of time to get treatment.
And keep this in mind, 55 seconds, Washington can make a run because Connecticut is the worst free throw shooting team in the league. So if you want to play that game of fouling, putting them at the line, maybe they make 1 of 2, and then Washington, the best three-point shooting team in the league. So, Ryan, this game's far from over.
Now, they're also looking to see whether or not this ball hit the rim. It looks like it did not.
No.
Remember, you need clear and convincing evidence to overturn the call on the floor, which is that it did not hit the rim and that it is Washington basketball. Our officials, Mai Forsberg, Mike Price, Billy Smith. You think it hits the rim?
I don't. I think that first blown up look was the best one we had.
We'll watch the spin to see if it changed at all. I think it did.
You think it did?
I don't think it did.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what the officials look for in that, to see if the spin of the ball changes. That's a tell that it grazed the rim.
All 5 players on the floor for Washington, very capable three-point shooters. Then they can obviously look for 2, but this is a team that shoots threes better than any team in the league.
4 to shoot. They need a bucket here. The inbound to Misamin, turned around, 2 to shoot, has to heave. No. And a shot clock violation against Washington in what may have been their last gasp.
Surprised that they didn't seem quite aware of the time on the shot clock.
Yeah, get on. You take on the ball.
Tebow going offense, defense now with his substitutions.
Neither of these franchises have ever won a WNBA Finals. First time since 2011 that 2 titleless teams have met in the finals. Jasmine Thomas at the trap, floats it to Alyssa Thomas, and she's who you want to put on the line. Although Washington had a foul to give. So Connecticut will have to inbound again. 2 timeouts remaining for the Sun, 1 for Washington.
Smart. Put your worst free throw shooter as the inbounder.
Jasmine Thomas breaks the timeline. Finds a cutting. Jones lays it in. An exclamation point on a beastly night from the Bahamas' own Jonquel Jones. 29 points, 18 rebounds for Jones as Misamin flips that in. Williams gets it across to Stricklen. And Washington looks like they're going to back off. About a 4-second difference, game and shot clock. It's all cosmetic at this point as Jones, truth on a 3. A little icing on the cake for Jonquel Jones. The Connecticut Sun steal game 2. 99-87 the final. And these 2019 WNBA Finals are even at a game apiece. Once again, the final score, Connecticut 99, Washington 87. For producer Rodney Vaughn, director Bonnie Riley, Rebecca Lobo, and Ollie Rowe, our entire ESPN crew, I'm Ryan Rucco. Thanks for watching. We will see you Sunday on ABC for Game 3. We'll see you in a moment on SportsCenter, but for now, let's send it to SportsCenter with John Anderson and Kenny May.